My name is Dorian and I think of myself primarily as a painter-designer. I've had a few evolutions in terms of my practice. I have spent many years designing scenery for theaters, particularly community theaters here in Chicago. And I've also spent many years designing interiors for people, focusing on the decorative arts. And then currently, I'm most focused on mural painting, public art pieces. Well, in terms of painted murals, my most recent ones are over at the Woodlawn Charter School, which is a new high school that was just built by University of Chicago on the south side. And then I also have a large piece that I did at Diet High School last year with a group of students who are back this year, and we're doing a second mural, an exterior mural this time, that's going to incorporate some mosaic. And then I have a large public art piece on the Burnham Wildlife Corridor that I did with fellow artists Arlene Crawford and Raymond Thomas. I do not remember how I met Marva, and like a lot of other people before me, it just seems like I've just known her always. I really have no recollection, but I believe it was probably the 57th Street Art Fair. I used to also be a vendor in the summer months selling watercolor paintings, and I had a line of greeting cards at the time. And so I think we both met through there. Marva and I are both Virgos, and so we hit it off very well from the beginning. Just like I said, it feels like I've just known her all my life. Marva really related strongly to the idea of the sapphire. And not only is the sapphire her birthstone as a Virgo, but the character of the sapphire, which is typically a very independent, kind of sassy black woman. And Marva is a very strong personality, very independent. And so sapphire just fit her perfectly as a character. And so crystals were everybody else. So it was Marva and the crystalettes. But she really identified strongly with the character of Sapphire, and she, again, the birthstone relationship too is kind of how that name came about. And I believe Felicia came up with the crystals, because Marva was Sapphire, and I think Felicia came up with the idea that everybody else are crystals. We always got together for Marva's birthday. She used to throw a dinner every year, as a matter of fact, for her birthday, and people would bring beautiful sapphire-colored crystals, glasses. So she had a beautiful collection of sapphire-colored wine glasses. But yeah, September was her month. She celebrated the whole month, and so that's how we ended up landing on that month. Wow, I don't know if I could say I have a favorite, but I definitely honor all the women that are on our altar. They're women that I've known personally. They're women that have worked with us as a group. People that are particularly close to my heart are people like Venus Blue, Renee Townsend. And there was a big loss when they passed. And so it's important that we continue to call their name. It's important that we continue to honor their work and to remember them as our sisters. So we always take a space in whatever show we do to remember the folks that came before and then our good friends. When I first got involved with Sapphire and Crystals, I was very focused on designing scenery at the time, and I was not very focused on exhibiting. Marva encouraged me to exhibit more. I did involve myself with some group shows here and there, but I was more focused with designing. So it gave me an opportunity to really get back into the studio. She kind of encouraged and motivated that. And then, as many other women have said before me, we were always trying to work on new work. So that was also an important aspect, that we would get together, we talk about themes and ideas, things that were relevant to us as women, maybe women of color, maybe mothers. And then we would take that idea and then we would formulate it into our own personal statements. And so it really pushed me to discover more about my studio practice in preparation for the shows. I feel it's gonna keep growing. I feel it's gonna, we have a strong sistership, a strong sisterhood together. We all have very independent lives, and our careers have all moved in different places, but yet we still have a common voice, and I think that we still have messages that we want to put out there as a group. Marva really was the consistent beat behind Sapphires and Crystals. Sapphire and Crystals. And so with her gone, there has been a bit of a void, and I think that we have not had the same energy towards getting together and pulling the show together. But I know it's there. I know it's hovering. Every time I see a member of the group, we always talk about, we've got to get our show together. We've got to get this next show together. We need to do a book. We need to do, something in remembrance of Marva. So the energy is still there. I think it's just been kind of a timing issue. And it's particularly important that we come together again and do another show because, as other people have talked about, we have so many young people who are out here, young artists who need that voice, who need that camaraderie between other female artists and need that encouragement and mentorship. So I think it's important that we stay together. The message that this group of women were coming together to give to the city was a message of diversity, of power, of independence, of self-determination. Many people have talked about the fact that there weren't a lot of venues for women. Most of us have, been a part of group shows. Most of us are usually the minority. It's usually mostly men. So it was an important step to come together and to have this all-female voice. So we've left our mark. We've added ourselves to the cultural landscape, and we've had a lot of unique messages. Though we are a collective of all Black women, there's a lot of diversity within our group, and that diversity really speaks louder when we are together.
Tell us about those earrings.
Oh, my good friend Faith Davis. I think that all the earrings I own are actually made by Faith. But Faith is one of our members. She used to exhibit with us. Faith is, not only does she do amazing jewelry, but she also does some pretty amazing art pieces that are just crafted with such care and such style. So she also was challenged by Sapphire Crystals to come up with things that were more art pieces and not just jewelry pieces. So it really pushed her aesthetic in quite a new direction also. But Faith's awesome. Yeah, I love her stuff. Just how much we miss Marva's energy.
Indeed.
She was a special woman, and she really, she was a nucleus, So now somebody else needs to step in there, and so we can keep things alive in her memory.